Welcome back to Book Summaries channel. If you've ever felt a mysterious force stopping you from starting that business, writing that book, or hitting the gym, today's video is going to change your life. We are breaking down The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, the ultimate guide to defeating the internal enemy that keeps you from your greatness. Steven Pressfield introduces us to our greatest adversary, resistance. This isn't an external force, but an internal, self-generated sabotage that kicks in whenever we try to move from a lower level to a higher one. Resistance is invisible, relentless, and impersonal. It doesn't care who you are, it just wants to stop you. It targets any creative endeavor, business venture, or spiritual growth. Pressfield explains that the more important an activity is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel toward it. Resistance feeds on fear and uses various disguises like procrastination, self-doubt, and even physical illness to keep us stuck. It tells us we can start tomorrow, knowing that tomorrow never comes. The author emphasizes that resistance is most powerful when we are closest to a breakthrough. To defeat it, we must first recognize its existence and understand its tactics. Resistance is like a magnetic force that pulls us away from our true work. By defining the enemy, we take the first step toward reclaiming our power and our purpose. Procrastination is the most common manifestation of resistance because it is so easy to justify. It doesn't tell us, never do the work, but rather do it later. This subtle lie is dangerous because it allows us to keep our self-image as a creator while avoiding the pain of creation. Pressfield argues that procrastination becomes a habit that eventually erodes our spirit. We find ourselves filling our time with trivialities and busy work to avoid the terrifying blank canvas. Resistance loves the tomorrow excuse because it sounds reasonable to the rational mind. However, the more we delay, the more fear grows, making the task seem even more insurmountable. We must realize that there will never be a perfect time to start. The only way to stop procrastinating is to recognize it as a symptom of a deeper fear of our own potential. Pressfield challenges us to stop waiting for inspiration and start working in spite of the dread. Procrastination is the thief of time and the assassin of dreams. Real victory is found in the simple act of beginning today. Resistance is an expert at using the intellect to keep us from doing our work through rationalization. It provides us with a series of logical-sounding reasons why we shouldn't or can't work right now. These excuses might include not having the right equipment, needing more research, or having too many family obligations. Unlike a simple lie, rationalization presents a sophisticated argument that makes us feel smart for staying stuck. Pressfield warns that the mind is a master at self-deception when it is trying to avoid fear. We must learn to distinguish between genuine obstacles and the clever decoys created by resistance. Rationalization is the right hand of resistance, providing the facts to back up our procrastination. If we listen to these justifications, we will spend our lives preparing to live instead of actually living. The author suggests that we should treat every excuse with skepticism. The more valid an excuse feels, the more likely it is a tool of resistance. To succeed, we must bypass the logical mind and commit to the work regardless of the circumstances. The secret to defeating resistance is to stop acting like an amateur and start acting like a professional. An amateur plays for fun, but a professional plays for keeps. Pressfield outlines that the professional loves the work, but they are also detached from the immediate results. Being a pro means showing up every single day, regardless of how you feel. It means working through pain, fatigue, and boredom without making excuses. The professional knows that the muse only visits those who are already at their desks. While the amateur waits for inspiration, the professional invites it by starting the labor. Turning pro is a mental shift where you decide that your work is your vocation, not a hobby. A professional takes criticism without taking it personally because they know their worth is separate from their output. This chapter provides a rigorous standard for how to approach our craft. By adopting the discipline of a professional, we strip resistance of its power. Success is not about talent as much as it is about the grit to stay in the chair. A professional mindset is characterized by order, patience, and a lack of drama. Pressfield explains that resistance thrives on chaos and emotional turbulence, so the professional seeks to eliminate these. The professional is prepared to fail, but they refuse to quit. They understand that mastery is a marathon, not a sprint, and they respect the craft enough to be patient with their progress. Unlike the amateur who seeks validation, the professional seeks excellence for its own sake. They are students of their game, always looking to improve their skills and deepen their understanding. A professional does not let success go to their head or failure go to their heart. They view their work as a service to a higher power or a commitment to their own integrity. This mindset acts as armor against the arrows of self-doubt that resistance constantly fires. By staying grounded and focused, the professional creates a space where creativity can flourish. Order in the environment leads to clarity in the mind. The professional knows that the work is a war, and they come prepared for battle every day. In the final section, Pressfield moves into the spiritual dimension of creativity, discussing the forces that support us. He believes that if resistance is the shadow, then there are angels or muses that represent the light. When we sit down and do our work, we invite the assistance of the universe. This is not about religion, but about the mysterious source of inspiration that flows through us when we are disciplined. Pressfield suggests that we are vessels for a higher intelligence that wants to bring something into the world. Our job is simply to clear the pipes and stay out of the way. When we overcome resistance, we tap into a power that is greater than our own ego. This chapter explores the concept of the self versus the ego, arguing that true art comes from the self. The ego is the home of resistance, while the self is the home of genius. By surrendering to the work, we transcend our limitations and become co-creators with the divine. The author encourages us to have faith in this invisible support system. If we do our part, the universe will do its part. Pressfield concludes by contrasting two ways of viewing the world, the hierarchical and the territorial. Most people live hierarchically, defining themselves by their place in the social pecking order. This is a trap for the artist because it makes them dependent on external approval and comparison. Resistance loves hierarchy because it keeps us focused on others instead of our work. In contrast, the professional operates territorially. A territory is a field of play that provides energy rather than taking it. For a weightlifter, the gym is the territory. For a writer, the desk is the territory. When you are in your territory, you don't need anyone's permission to be there. You do the work because it is where you belong and where you find your soul. This shift from seeking status to seeking mastery is essential for long-term survival. A territorial orientation ensures that your motivation comes from within. It protects you from the highs and lows of the marketplace. Find your territory, defend it against resistance, and do the work you were born to do.